it.
Superstars is now showing they're all grown up, going 2-1 over Naventic. Yeah, that's a pretty tough one.
The battleground is ready.
Let's go.
Save us, production. It is towers. It's just superstars.
I hate myself, dude. Why does this happen like this? This one makes a lot more sense than the last one. The last one legitimately made 0 sense because, again, just the priorities of Naventic, that we talked about it all. I'm not going to beat it to death. But this one, not as crazy. I was getting weird when I was suggesting Naventic take us to towers. It's not crazy for Superstars. It's one of their favorite maps that they're picking it. That is not the Wild Flare.
What is interesting for Superstars is while it used to be a favorite in Phase 1, they haven't picked it yet in this phase. In fact, they have not even played on Towers of Doom this phase. I wonder if that is the Sray factor.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a really good, interesting topic point. One thing I want to touch up on here is Stitches. Stitches for Sray has been, pretty high impact for him. It's, I think, the only player hero he's played so far since their comps have been near identical throughout the series, but it's a better map for him. We can make the argument of we've seen Gorge and the impact plays you can make around some of the sappers. Such a good sieging and anti-sieging tool when it comes to that, and sometimes that is what makes and breaks a map like Towers.
And which team is going to take Medivh? I did not think that. What is that face?
That face was hopefully not Nventic. That's how I feel about it. It doesn't add up. Again, the best odds for them to be able to win these games, I feel like, are very much not going to be with the crazy, I don't know, overly synergistic, we all have to be on the same page heroes, and a little bit more on the, hey, these are rather forgiving compositions.
I actually wasn't questioning your face, I was questioning the voice, which sounded very loud in my headset. But that makes a lot of sense, that if a team were to draft it, probably likely to be for Superstars, and especially since they've had so much priority on Stitches already, they can put the Stitches and the Medivh together and have a nice combo for Towers of Doom. That was kind of the OG place for the Stitches Medivh.
It was the first place that it actually came to life. Medivh was originally on first release. His best maps, everybody was like Cursed Hollow and Towers of Doom were the ones that you would really see him. Towers of Doom specifically because Wave Clear is not as high impact, and there's a lot of really cool, those triple altar phases. He suddenly can be like, I'm delaying this one, now I'm going to help my friend over here. He's a little bit all over the place. I was going to say Abathur is something we need to be looking out for in the series too, knowing that it's Towers of Doom, but I feel like more for Superstars, if anybody. Both these teams are not big onto the Abby game. They don't feel like it's a logical decision. I was going to find a way to loop in another one, but I was only getting worse from there. So I'm going to just stop. Cut my loss.
That one was perfect. One and done. Taskban?
Is it the Genji, Nventic? You showed signs of being able to play it throughout last week. Do you go into, again, to Haka? Are you going to mix it up, get a little bit wilder, and go with something else here?
Even though Naventic looks strongest with Illidan, they're not so far up that they would be willing to first pick it yet.
Yeah. Well, I think that makes a lot of sense, because then they show it's too high to the point where they get punished. Like, I do like that Naventic is trying to, if they draft it, it's within a reasonable slot. They aren't overly forcing it. The biggest thing for me is I don't even think they have to draft Illidan. It's just draft something a little more forgiving, Don't pick the compositions that are so high skill cap and so, again, difficult to just use. I feel like the fact that, like, Roll20 has shown that when you work together as Medivh, it can bring the whole game to another level. But even them, as calculated and synergistic as they are, the minute they make a mistake, we've seen teams be able to completely counter it and really punish it so heavily. And that's all I want from them, is just a little bit easier composition.
Well, Superstars now has a new Barak to be able to deal with the Genji with Dragon Blade, with Cocoon as well. And also getting to Haka for a global. It's a large battleground, be able to sit in lane and soak for as long as they can before coming in and being able to take an altar or fight over an altar. Team Nventic now, have we seen them been willing to play both Genji and Illidan before?
I don't think we've seen it at the same time, no. It's only been one or the other. Genji, most of the time, I believe, was up to iDream.
Biggie.
Or Big E, yeah, even Big E moving over to that. So yeah, we have not seen them bust out the Illidan at the same time. It does fit. Can fit in certain comps, but that is so even that would stretch B-Kid's hero pool even farther. You know, I don't mind the idea of venturing into it, and they do even go with the Avatar.
Nice.
I am so pleasantly surprised. Okay, so are we ready? Avatar needs to be played by iDream. Dunzo. If that happens, I automatically am like, well, I'm back to Naventic, has a chance to be able to take this game. Like, very much. If they put the double Genji with an Avatar hat, iDream's the Avatar, Genji's around doing his thing, high impact heroes. Again, Naventic really could take this game and take us to game 5.
And what last 2 picks would you like in that instance then? Obviously, we need a warrior for B-Kid.
Yes. That one, I'll get back to you on that.
All right, Illidan's been banned out by Superstars, so they don't want to add any more melee mobility craziness to what already is a strong 3 picks for Team Naventic.
What do you ban for Naventic here? When you see the double, you know, like, do you just go for farther into the support world? You don't expect a Stitches to be picked up now that there's a double warrior. It's possible. It's not out of the realm.
If they don't want to deal with Medivh, potentially Medivh. Otherwise in range, I guess. I was wondering if they were worried at all about fighting versus the old Vala, Ariel something. But no, it's Grey Mane.
The old Varia.
Vala, Ariel something.
Yeah, classic right there, Gilly. I wouldn't mind if Superstars went in that direction, just or at least some sieging focus, just due to the early punishment you can gain over to the Avatar. Again, Naventic is pretty weak in the early game most of the time with their compositions. If you were to abuse in a macro, their weakness is early game and it's macro play. You can get an advantage through macro play and the early game against an Avatar pretty easy. Maybe a direction that they want to convert their draft now with their 3-4. It's going to be up to them. Ariel could, you know, kind of go into that direction, and Icon he's been playing it quite a bit now.
And then Yoda back on Vala, likely.
If that were to do that, yeah. But then you pull Yoda away from the Dahaka, and let's be honest here, Yoda on Dahaka is actually insane.
I don't think he's going to play Dahaka.
I know,
Dread.
because now we got the swap. I know, I'm just saying that every time I talk about Yoda, I got to highlight his Dahaka because it's still, for me, the best in North America. And it's not true. Goku and then Yoda right after that. But it's like, it's pretty close, and it's very impressive. But the Malphitius, bit of a mix-up from them, too. I do like the Malfurion to be able to deal with the double Genji. Like heroes like Uther just don't have the tools to be able to do that. Single Genji, yes. Double Genji, not so much. So having that AoE, you'll get a little bit of peel for whatever target might die and maybe stop a reset.
Final 2 picks. Warrior for B-Kid. Arthas is still up.
Arthas would make the most amount of sense, you know, slow things down a little bit by a bit of time and allow that double Genji to really kind of thrive later on. But it also is susceptible to the Tychus, you know? So much so that I wonder if they're going to go into a variant now that they see the Tychus on the other side. You know,
that's true. Johanna.
That's a little wild.
Blinds for the Tychus, though. Li Ming.
I was wondering if they're going to go to Cassia since they got the blind on top of it and just kind of go double down synergy all in melee. They get a Li Ming, double reset. Remember when talking about just about 4 minutes ago, about high skill cap and just the difficulty of the composition Naventic volunteers to.
Burden of execution.
Yeah, this is another one where they choose 2 heroes with really amazing impact into the game. But again, who's going to prep the Genji or the Li Ming to be able to get those resets?
Who's going to play each hero?
Yeah, and it's just one of those things where Naventic is making it very difficult for themselves. It's a little bit better than they have been drafted in the past, but they need to be all on the same page now. When Li Ming goes in, the Johanna, who's poor initiation, when the Condemn comes in, and Orb's got to hit, then Genji's got to get the slice in. It's possible, but do they have the coordinated level to execute it? We'll find out.
Final pick, it is going to be either Hoshi or Yoda. Diva.
What? Not the place that I expected to see that. Not only for Superstars, but they've already got themselves 2 frontliners, picking up a 3rd. To be honest, don't hate the pick. Who is double resets going to be able to kill? like, that was such a nice final pick for Superstars. Like, when you see that double reset, the minute I'm like, oh, they have to get resets, who's going to set that up? And then you just go, we're going to throw another body who just doesn't care about your resets. You are not going to be able to deal with the mecha up into the front line, being very annoying the whole time. Tychus, the best backliner to be able to survive that type of deal.
Survivable with his armor and Odin.
Yeah,
you can get Neo Steel coating later
Relentless
on.
Soldier, he is by far the most defensive backliner you can ask for in the modern meta, and then you have 2 tanks on their own. Mouth, the only guy targetable.
Until Ice Block. And then he even has Ice Block to try to get through, and then Twilight Dream.
And normally I'd argue, well, Mouth is very susceptible to like the hard initiation later on, but honestly, Johanna is one blessed shield. That's usually not enough to be able to lock down the Mouth and be like, you're just going to die.
Unless you Falling Sword.
Unless you Falling Sword, and even in Death is about the only team I think that is confident enough in their Johanna play and play it enough to where they might be able to get that wild. Maybe Naventic is too.
The only person I knew before would be Collusion used to play it when he was a warrior.
To be completely honest, I would prefer them taking Falling Sword this game because their comp has to win in the first couple of seconds. You might as well accent that. Blessed Shield is not going to give you the initiation you want, but if you got a good Falling Sword and Condemn, you could really begin to win the fight before it even started.
Yeah, they've got to win or else they are going home, and Superstars will walk away with the victory in the series.
Johanna's such a weird. I view her as, I'm going to hit you with this, and you're probably going to give me the stink eye at first glance, but just hear me out for a second. Johanna for me is like the Brightwing of supports. And the fact that
warriors.
When looking at, or yeah, it's just when looking at...
Brightwing is the Brightwing of support.
You are in fact correct. And look, it also is going to be Zuna there, on to the Genji. But it was mainly just around the fact that her heroic choices and the trade-offs to them in a lot of sense, even though one typically you can see the value immediately a lot of the time, because the weakness and holes of other parts of her kit as a natural design, oftentimes if you pick her and feel like you have to go in the Blessed, it's just not worth the pick. Much like Link Heal and the Emerald Win aspect of it, right? It just is, she struggles so much in that area, you just got to teleport, Emerald win the fight, and if you aren't doing that, Brightwing usually is a bit more of a weaker selection. Obviously, that's not concrete, but I feel like she's kind of the same way.
Johanna will at least help be able to throw some blinds onto Yoda as well as Diva, and in that amount of time hopefully nullify some of the damage so that Team Nventic can try to get resets, but the issue still remains.
I've never seen an Avatar that confident in my entire life. Hosty just has to right-click the wrong angle, and then he's going ahead, and he's just flat dead. Nobody threw a skill shot over the wall to reveal, so luckily he lives another day. But I feel like that Slug might want to scooch just a smidge back.
Here already, you can see one drawback to Team Nventic composition. They are full on team fighting. Later on, they'll have Abathur soak, and they do have good stalling for the altars to enable that Abathur to be able to soak lanes and try to get them ahead or even push waves down. But they are lacking a fair amount in being able to keep the waves at bay against Superstars. Rhaegar will help with Lightning Bond. They have Johanna too, and that may have been another indication of why they went into Johanna besides the blinds for Tychus and then later on Diva. But even still, they're only really getting pressure on in this bottom lane, and elsewhere they're just trying to stand by until the altars activate.
There's a lot of really good delay on the side of Superstars. As long as they hit the 4 mark, you have Malfurion in the bottom half with the Elun's Grace, and Nubarak could go into the better bars, but even then, he's got Impale. He's fine to delay on his own. Diva is an absolute standout hero in the world of delay. So we'll see the laning rotation for Superstars. It looks like they're comfortable going 1-for-1 up on top, and the focus for both teams now is going to be on to the bottom half. Rotational advantage slightly in favor of Nventic.
Superstars, though, are able to bring into Haka faster than Genji. He's already stalking in, and they're trying to jump on top of Tomster while they have the time, knowing that the stock will be there in a way to body block. Rhaegar goes down as the first blood of this fight. Nventic, can they continue to stall out, picking up this altar long enough to make it back in? At least have Rhaegar come back. If not do more here, at least let their Abathur be able to soak.
Yeah, Zuna went back in and was able to find himself an Iacona. Huge orb coming out from iDream there. Once again, going into that Triumvirate. Really enjoying that build there onto the lane main. Probably expect the Calamity again. Sray trying to question if he can move into zone off. And now Nventic has found themselves the first 2 altars of the game in a shot advantage with an Abathur composition. That, again, it's day and night for Nventic here.
It was unexpected, but part of what helped was having their sappers. Superstars did not get their sappers. They didn't do the standard North American thing of getting sappers right before the first altar phase. It does mean that they're available now, and if they want to get those and try to push along with them and make sure that they're able to get some sort of value for the team. But Team Nventic being able to get 2 of those altars and keep up an experience, again, is very good, considering the fact that they have that Abathur.
I also see Zuna going more into the Shuriken build. That's something that is, I mean, not unheard of. We've known this was the original, the standard, and now as more of late, we've seen so many people focusing into his E and getting those resets. But it gives more consistent damage output, showing that he understands the fact that they can't rely on that all-in and getting those resets immediately with the comp that Superstars has drafted. That's a really solid talent adjustment coming out from him.
Also cool to not see Adrenal Overload, not necessary in the composition that Team Nventic has. Instead, making sure to get Prolific Dispersal, can add the next talent, or the next talent for Ness, to be able to get the Vile Nest and the slows at level 7 too, but still then be able to give the healing later on with Soma Transference. Superstars are going to invade on top of this and get the camp, get the drag too, and now Zuna's in trouble. Swift strikes through and survives.
Standard Genji. Bait with the deflect. Go ahead and slice your way on to safety. 25 seconds till we find ourselves a secondary altar phase. 2 are going to be up, both onto the bottom half. We have the global of Superstars finding its way up to top. And it's all about delay for Naventic. If they manage to be successful and capture this altar on top of it, I mean, again, it's an Abathur composition. They should be struggling with that macro early on. And I do want to say that I agree with what you said a bit earlier about the Johanna pickup, and the kind of macro that's provided has really helped them stopping Superstars from keeping that early game pressure we typically see into Abathurs.
Posty dropped self-destruct, was kind of forced to do so too, and that's not really on top of a point. They're going to trade out on the altars, so it gives Nventic still maintaining a lead. Knem's going to pull Yoda in. Yoda would be the ideal target. Zuna hoping for that kill, but not able to get it. Cyber Agility's out. Is not going to be the Vile Nest. Instead, we have the Mule for Abathur.
Good old Mule. Classic. Classic. Tried and true. You know, it's been around for a long while. Pops up here and there. Still my favorite little ward. Sapper's going to be started for Superstars. Zuna knows. And excuse me, that was B-Kid. I don't know how I thought that was a Genji. Nice drag. Attempt coming out from Urho. Yoda's got a lot of pressure with Zuna on the backside there. The fight is so split. Hosty out of the mech. He goes down. First reset here, and now the cap going over to Nventic.
Urho, though, is going to be in trouble as Tomster bites down, and iDream jumps in with a Calamity too, just to make sure and get that kill. So 2 kills for Team Nventic, and they're getting further and further ahead in experience. Things started out really well. The stock-in was good in the location, and the boosters hit a lot of people to push everyone from Naventic in the choke, but Zuna drawing just enough of Superstars' resources away, keeping them there on one side, enabled the rest of the team to be able to get that first kill, taking out D.Va, and then getting to Haka as well.
And now Naventic has a full lead. I mean, I'm just trying to find now where's the window again, because this is only get worsened by the fact that this composition, team fight wise, is absolutely intimidating. It's winning on the macro sense. It's winning in the early game where it shouldn't. Superstars has really got to make a way to change the game plan. I feel like now a lot of pressure is on Iakona's shoulders. He is the only reason that they can stop this double reset from coming in and being a major problem between the Li Ming and the double Genji.
Because Twilight Dream seems to be an integral part of Superstars, I wouldn't be surprised to see Bunny Hop too, just to try to keep everybody in a location once all of Naventic dive in, hoping for the double resets, and then Bunny Hop, you've got Twilight Dream on top of that, but we'll have to see, because Big Shot is a nice resource to have to be able to make sure that you can get your mech back up.
Yeah, you can get a lot of uptime there with that talent choice. It is going to be the Bunny Hop. Iakona's yet to choose his heroic, but we're just going to assume that's a fat old Twilight Dream. He likes to hide his talents. It's a fun minigame the casters play with their talent, or with their players. Still going with the standard. This is such, Iacona absolutely adores that hindering Moonfire there at the level 7 talent. And we see oftentimes, you know, you see him trying to set up the plays with the slow that he's able to get out there. And this downtime between the altars, not much is happening for either side. It's a bit of just limbo. Sappers will be picked up for Superstars. D.Va trying to be an anchor.
Because the Li Ming exists on Team Naventic's side, Do you think that changes who we'll see Stray try to focus with his Cocoon, or do you think it'll still be on Genji trying to make sure that he can't do a lot with Dragon Blade in fights?
I think if I was worried about anybody, I'm worried about Genji. He's the only way this game really gets out of hand. Or the Rhaegar. The Johanna and the Li Ming, but both of those two would be where I expect all Cocoons to go.
Once again, another stock attempt from Arrow as he comes in for the fight, and with Odin drop 2 and the self-destruct, this is the place where Superstars wants to battle it out and try to catch back up in the game.
Big impact on that clone has already been dealt with pretty handedly. Urho getting a lot of value there out of the adaptation on top of it. Stray trying to make a play down here below. The Odin is real. Dragon Blade hacking and slashing on through. That was a very curious Dragon Blade choice there. Eventually, Hosti's mech is destroyed. Stray gets chased down. If they get, oh man, so close. One more auto attack, and that would have been within lethal range for Zuna. But they're unable to get that kill, and now we've got 2 more altars, Gilly.
It was curious that Superstars wanted to try to fight there, they're using longer respawn time or cooldown timers, not over altars, but at the same time they wanted to get a fight in and try to turn things around before Nventic got 13. But Nventic similarly used a lot too. Cleanse.
Just stopped the Twilight Dream from even being a problem. Huge plays once again here from Tomster.
That was insane.
Now we're going to have ourselves all heroics available for Naventic except for the Dragon Blade. Bunny Hop going to come down, slow a couple of members. The clone is being dealt with once more. It's going to go ahead and drop a deflect. Mecha explosion. Does it get any value, Hosty? He has found himself a secondary mech. He's going to be okay, and so is Zuna. It is just skirmish forever here over this mid altar. Nobody going down yet. When it comes to heroics, Superstars is getting a couple back. They're about to have adaptation in 5 seconds.
And Odin, too, will help a lot, but not losing a new Barak like that. Hosty is going to go in and pin, but iDream teleports over the wall just in time, and then Dahaka blows up, giving iDream the resets.
Making a very smart play there. iDream not panicking and teleporting over that wall. He would be unable to do so. Taking the smart one, taking the small wall, and bought just enough time. Now another altar. 4 more shots going into the core of Superstars as they're now sitting down at the 20 department. It's just gonna keep happening. I think Twilight Dream for me is the only tool Superstars can use and actually win a fight. If it's off cooldown or it does not get a kill during its duration, I just don't feel that Superstars has the capability with the draft that they have.
Yeah, man, and we thought the triple warrior, Twilight Dream, and then the Odin with the armor would be enough to stop the double reset composition of Team Nventic, but Nventic is making it happen.
I feel like what this is now it's showing that Superstars committed so much in the defense department that they don't have enough offense. You know, nobody is threatening really too much of Nventic's health pool, specifically that of the Genji or the Rhaegar. Tomster's been pretty comfortable the whole game, but we've got ourselves a Cocoon here down below. The burrow from Urho, iDream with a nice teleport was able to dodge that.
And a good Iron Skin from BK2 just to make sure that he couldn't be dragged back into the fray. This time the Cocoon was on top of iDream, so an understanding of the fact that Disintegrate just shreds through the Cocoon, but even still, Superstars have got to find an answer for the team fighting of Team Nventic because we're looking at 32 to the 20 in core health of Superstars. Nventic has been pulling ahead right from the beginning, the very first altar phase.
Where does it stop? They just need to be able to get themselves a fight. We've got the shrine there, the teleport through mid. I thought for a second that was an altar. Sadly, that is not the case because Superstars needs one as soon as possible for the 16 mark hits. You see them getting desperate. They see that 30-second window. That might be 30 seconds too late. Straight trying to force something. Nice punishment. Zuna's there on the back line, just ripping through Icona's health bars. Huge value out of that 13 talent.
Man, Bunny Hop went down, but Nventic cared not for that Bunny Hop. They'll take out D.Va just like that as well. 2 kills. Zuna dives underneath, converting the bell tower with his Dragon Blade and continuing on, putting the damage onto Yoda. Twilight Dream comes out. That might be enough to save Yoda, but they still have lost 2. Airho is low. Ancestral Healing keeps Zuna alive so that he can get right in, take a 3rd kill, and get out.
Honestly, I'm surprised Zuna didn't risk that for another one. Yoda was so very low before, but over time, the regrowth there from Malfurion has helped it out. Big impact, doing what Sluggether can do best. He stole away the 1 altar. He's going to go ahead and get 5 more shots on the top right. We've got these up on bottom. Superstars has 5 HP remaining on their core. They have only managed to take 2 altars the entire game, and it's 10-1 in terms of kills. Nventic is on an absolute tear, and nothing is stopping them right now. Superstars, it just feels like this game is not the place where they're going to be able to recover. We just set the sights to game 5.
It has been amazing. This game and the last 2 have been so one-sided.
Yeah.
Stray goes down.
But in opposite directions.
Yes.
Nice mecha explosion. It should be able to rid of the sappers before they made it in. It did. Hosi ate a chunk to his actual HP, but it's fine. He's got a mech to be able to protect him. Now, sappers round 2. Sadly, this is going to be a little bit easier to deal with. I just like trying to make, you know, fighting game commentary where like, round 2, fight! But
Fight.
it just wasn't nearly as good.
Sadly, it's just pumpkin people. 1 did go in though, because we're looking at 4, which means a boss is the end of the game.
Posty thrusting. Went ahead and threw that down. Bunny Hop's going to be dropped before the boss. Twilight Dream goes off, hitting 2 members, but no kill gain. Zuna, it manages to stay alive. He goes back in. He got the Ancestral, but it does not connect. He got a little bit too greedy there with that, and now it looks like Superstar is getting the punishment, the cocoon. They reveal Tomster. Can they get more? They need everything.
They have a body block on top of BKid, and now with Iron Skin not left, he's relying just on the Carapace drag. Hits, Johanna is out of the game for 47 seconds. Superstars trying to get back in this game, but it will be such an uphill battle. It starts with trying to take out some of the structures wherever they can.
First Twilight Dream of the game to hit more than 2 people, and Superstars showed signs of life in that fight. I really, again, just so much pressure there onto Iacona in this game. This bell tower is going to be converted back. That will only restore the balance back to the 4-4 ratio. We've got ourselves 3-4 seconds until Li Ming and Genji are going to be up. I wouldn't be surprised if Naventic tried to get a delay. Nobody's going to be able to make it that far. Thought for sure the Rhaegar, you know, transition up, maybe help Genji and buy a little bit of time. If you saw it one time, everybody commit to that, and they could have maybe gone for the all-in. The reason why you can risk that if you're Nventic, because the win condition is just 1 altar still, you can throw everything you have at one time, try and get your opponent into misplay, and even if you wipe, you're, what, back to normal, because your lead is so huge.
Yeah, it's still 20-4. They have such a lead. They even still maintain a lead in experience, even though Superstars were able to get those kills at such a pivotal moment. Superstars has to take back their bell tower in the bottom to equalize back to the norm and deal with these sappers that Team Naventic got. But Team Naventic are just going to push up in the top. They're going to give it another go.
They're still far enough away to where the sappers cannot end the game, at least not one camp on their own. Superstars doing their best down here. Bell tower game is real. But if Naventic converts mid bell tower in this downtime, or if they're just gonna flat try and flank and force the fight. What is the choice, Naventic?
Mid.
They're gonna go for mid. That is the safer call because it ensures 20, and you still have a bell tower advantage. If you go bottom and try and take that fight, again, it's one of those opportunities that if you lose that, the altars would spawn in the death timer duration, which is not something you want to deal with. And here it is. Naventic has found themselves the 20. We still have 2 minutes and 43 seconds until the boss, so it's all about the altar phase for Superstars, and they cannot lose. Well, technically, you know, depending on the altar stage, I guess they cannot lose 1, you know? It feels like a cheating statement.
Oh, man. And it's a double. Superstars are getting back what they can for bell towers, but again, they have to get in position for the altars now.
If Iacona goes for the new rendition of, you know, the Storm for Twilight Dream, having that bolt still.
Astral Communion.
All right, so this is going to increase the odds of him being impactful in this fight significantly. We'll see if they can make it happen, Gilly.
Good self-destruct this time from Hosty. He finally gets to put it in the position that he wants. They've zoned away BKid. They're trying to bring him down with that Tychus damage, but Stray has also taken some damage in the fight. Cocoon has gone down. Bunny Hop on top of the damage dealers in the back. Naventic's getting fairly low, and there it was. There was the Astral Communion with the Twilight Dream. Forces indestructible to be used. Hosty gets out of the mecha.
Oh, the zone off of Zuna, putting so much pressure onto him, making him use that cyber agility over the wall. He's getting the Dragon Blade slashes out, gets the Ancestral. You know he wants to get that reinitiation. Hosty's a really prime target for that. Blind thrown over the wall here from B-Kid. Haka got a couple of shots. That's only going to be 3 going to the core. Genji getting caught out here. Do they have it? They do. That is now the first kill for Superstars to be able to zone off of this altar. Again, if they lose it, they very much would lose this game.
That's the kind of synergy you want to see from a team. Stray dives in knowing that Dahaka will be there, gets the first hit, the follow-up 2, able to bait Zuna, and they take him down. 47 seconds where Superstars don't have to worry about a Genji.
They're going to start another channel. The triumvirate value of iDream over that wall has been real. The Disintegrate is going ahead to stop that. 20 seconds for that to be up. Missiles has been worn.
Double soak.
And this is the first time that they are going to be able to get it. Altar converted back.
Both of the altars are back. They are not out of the woods, but they are getting closer and closer to turning this game back around against Team Nventic. Superstars in this later game will need to deal with the bottom lane. Team Nventic are hoping to keep the pressure on there.
We're 30 seconds away from the boss. That is a win condition available for Naventic. And so if they were to well prep this bottom lane and in this amount of time, if they were able to do so, it would be huge. But B-Kid making it up barely and was unable to keep that pressure up. Nobody looks to be cycling, getting it on initial spawn. So we have a game on our hands still, because now the health of the core is close enough to where this couldn't really go any direction. And I do think that 20 window for specifically Iacona is really, now every shot, every team fight, they have a very good shot because he is going to hit more than one person, or at least he very much should be able to.
Yeah, the later game is going better and better for Superstars because they've finally gotten the kinds of abilities that they need to try to get through the Genji leaming damage.
Blessed.
But the Blessed Shield's there. Stray has the Burrow Charge out, barely does so. Hosty has dropped the self-destruct, zoning away. Stray wants to go back in for the fight. Zuna's used Dragon Blade.
Yeah, that Dragon Blade being used, and that is not getting any value out of the 20 either. Sometimes we see that in the later stages where he's just hitting one person and it's like, well, eventually he'll reinitiate. But now 72 seconds where that's going to be down. Boss is a win condition for Naventic again, which means the members of Superstars cannot transfer down all to this altar. It's going to split them up. Zuna stuck in a corner.
And they know that they need to get this fight and they need to win it so decisively that the boss isn't an issue. They're focusing a lot of their efforts on trying to bring down B-Kid where they can.
Clone's been used. Zuna?
Zuna?
Oh my,
Zuna!
He's dead! That was what Superstar needed. Now they've got a shot to make the comeback, but it's not over yet. There's still a lot to be done. Cocoon, that is on to Rhaegar. The reveal there for Disintegrate is just out of range.
Roots?
In the roots too soon. Gilly, no, not like this, but the Impale is there. Can they get the kill? Tomster is dead.
Or Kerwolf, doesn't matter. You are dead for 62 seconds. Bunny Hop catches iDream as well. B-Kid is running away, but these body blocks from Hosty, and now Arrow forced Blessed Shield to be used.
And then Thruster's gonna knock him back once more. The root's going to land. No Iron Skin for a couple of seconds, but Superstars realize they have nothing left to get done here. They're gonna just capture that altar. Now 4 more shots. The core of Nventic back to 10. Again, the boss is still up. If that was picked up for Nventic, it's game. If Superstars gets it back down to the 6, I would like to see them try to deny the boss right now, this exact second, and if they fail to do that here, I don't think they have enough time.
Yeah, no support for 24 seconds is the best time to just get rid of that boss so that they don't have to worry about that, because if they get in a weird situation with the
next altars it's just
in the bottom again, yeah, they got so lucky that they were able to take out Zuna, and that was, of course, down to their good play, but they don't want to have to hopefully take that risk again.
Boss is gonna go offline for a long while now. And the cores are comparable for the first time since probably the second altar phase in this entire game. There we go, the Cocoon.
The present opens up.
Zuna's down.
It's a Genji.
Gilly, they're gonna win this game. They're going to get this comeback. This is absolutely amazing.
They have forced so many staggered deaths now in the late game from Team Nventic. They just had to get to where they could be more sustainable. Hosty's ability now, because of his nano weave suit, to be able to place self-destructs a lot more confidently out there instead of trying to drop them more defensively has been a big turn for them as well. Superstars, how far down were they in core health?
If I was recall off the top of my head, it feels like it was like 28?
It was 20-something, definitely.
It was just insane. Okay, so we've got 28 seconds. This is obviously not game. It's 4-4 for Superstars, but it still is a win condition for Naventic. We have no boss to be worried about. There is no bell tower sitting at low HP. The only one to be considering would be this on bottom. Sray goes in. Sappers are going to move up. Bell tower converted. That means this is going to be one shot remaining if Superstars gets it, and it's not lethal anymore if Naventic does.
Yeah, so good for Superstars that they could convert that. The pressure has been lifted off of their shoulders here. But even still, Team Naventic want to win a team fight. If they win a team fight, they still are able to go in somewhere and be able to get it, but BKid is so far away from the rest of the team, getting torn down by the nukes.
Way too soon to pop Indestructible there. The Ancestral might have to be popped onto him. It is necessary. That means nothing for Zuna on the back line. Iacona popped the Twilight Dream. The Impale is there, but Zuna managed to survive. Iacona is getting pressured by Big Impact, and on the other side, look at that bunny hop trying to zone away the Li Ming. No one down yet, but Zuna dashes away. Hosty, can he thrust and get the kill? No, he leaps over the wall, but Rhaegar, Tomster, no! Survive, do not die, he goes down. Gilly, I think Superstars may have done it.
They are going after iDream 2, who teleports away. Superstars only need to get one more damage on the core, where they were down more than 20 damage. They still have the bottom bell tower. They have sappers that they could try to escort. Hosty does not have a self-destruct it yet.
He won't be able to pick it up either before this is relevant. Can they catch BKid? He doesn't have any Indestructible. If they get the Impale, nice Iron Skin, so he makes it out. But the zoning route, it's not going to gain value. He walks around, Cocoon, zoning. No follow-up there afterwards. I thought the route might have been off cooldown, but he's got a long while there. Again, you use it on BKid. If they get any of these in, it's game.
Supercharge is all in. There's one that's so close. It doesn't go in.
Blessed Shield.
Zuna.
The Sapper. Zuna goes down.
The Sapper is saved.
But can't say the same about Zuna. That's 60 more seconds.
The altars.
Okay, the only way Nventic wins is if they get somehow in a cheeky position, start the channel immediately, and everybody zones away. And nobody is in position to do that in time. I think this is it.
They can't even win with one altar.
No.
They'd have to get both.
You're right.
Because Superstars still claim the bottom bell tower.
BKid's back. Indestructible's got to be coming off cooldown
They just
soon.
have to slow down already. They have to Haka out in the bottom. All they have to do is just keep BKid busy.
They did it. That's it. That is game. Superstars, in fact, will be able to take this series 3-1. And with the comeback of the century here on Towers of Doom.
They are legends.
On Towers of Doom, specifically, I'd agree. That was really, really clean game. And you know, the one thing I want to say for Superstars, the fact that that series ended on that has got to feel so good, right? Because it was very apparent with lopsided games going in both directions. It's kind of just like, well, did they get a better draft this game? Was it just one huge mistake? But then when that game going over to Nventic after the dominant performance in the last one and they still managed to get it back, I mean, it's very apparent who's the better team, right? And it's nice. You got to feel really confident after that, and that could help them moving forward.
Yeah, being able to make that kind of comeback on Towers of Doom maybe even gives them more confidence in Towers moving forward as well, because like I said, they haven't been choosing Towers of Doom where it used to be a standard pick for them, and it's easy to see why. They stayed calm, they remained consistent, they stayed in the game enough, and when it mattered, they won the team fights.
Yeah, I haven't seen a team force that many staggered deaths that well since like Dignitas did the midseason brawl versus L5 on BOE. Like that was one of the most unwinnable games I've ever seen, and still won by the team by just doing everything they can do right and making it happen when necessary. And it felt like Superstars was very understanding of that, and that means a lot of solid improvement from Superstars. But again, you got to be a little bit scared because this is them resorting back to what they had before. So then we can go like, well, if that was the skill ceiling of that group, granted we do have different variables with the roster swapping overall. Did it again, but it's just I'm not sold here for Superstars, but it has got to feel good.
Yeah, especially because they are going to be able to end up with at least 2 victories now at the end of part 1, and with the standings carrying over, that makes them hopeful that they'll be able to stay out of Crucible range, but start trying to build up and get in a good spot for playoffs for the Global Championship.
Yeah, so they can better themselves through the ladder system that we have created. And yeah, that makes a lot of sense that would be the focus for them. A lot of Superstars mentality, I've talked to Hosty the most, has been so into the future. Not like we're just looking to better ourselves now. It's not about winning the video game right now. But again, that last game has got to be really, really feeling good for them.
Well, I want to ask Stray about that last game because it was nuts. Hey, Stray, congratulations. You guys were able to take out Nventic 3-1. Pretty decisive. Talk us through you guys' mindset, how you guys were feeling throughout that last game.
Thanks so much, guys. That was a pretty intense game. I mean, we didn't expect to win, but we didn't put it off either. And I think once it started snowballing, like a couple of staggered deaths, I think that Naventic's a very respectable team, but we kind of, you know, sometimes there's tilt happening, and we've been through that as well. I think we've been in the same position. So once we got the staggered deaths going, it was really just momentum completely. I don't know how many shots there were up, but it was a pretty solid. And we also figured out how to do fights like halfway through the game. I was just getting completely dumpstered in front line, so.
Yeah, it seemed like, you know, once they hit 10, things got very scary, and they were already ahead with Abathur, but you could see you guys get more and more confidence with every single staggered death you were able to cause. Now, we obviously see you back on Warriors. How has that transition been for you guys, and where do you want it to go moving forward with the team?
So obviously it's a big question with roles that we're doing, and it came to the conclusion that I need to be shot calling. And that's the main decision behind it. Obviously, I'm a better tank than I am a ranged player. I don't think anyone debates that. I think I made good progress, and it's still something I'd want to do, but
yeah.
just like we need the shot calling. So I think I need to be on the tank, and I can't do it from range because we tried that, and it wasn't working very well. So for the short term, I think that this is what we're going to be doing and see how it goes from there. And we're, again, looking for, as Hosey said, the long-term growth. So we're not really discouraged by our early losses.
Well, we wish you luck with that. Dread?
For me, it's a little bit still focusing on the role swap, just because that is such a huge impact, obviously. I feel like you guys even showed through the shot calling that you had a much better performance today as a group. So with this temporary, like for the next couple of series, does that mean that we can expect mainly you guys sticking to the double warrior? Do you feel constricted and you need to draft the double warrior? Or is that just like for this week and then you would have some plan to kind of venture outward?
I mean, I think the meta generally is an offlane tank, but today I think there was just we definitely don't only play tank in the offlane. It seemed like the drafts lined up for offlane tanking, and what we're comfortable on today, just branching out from there, right? Obviously, role swaps take time to learn new heroes, etc. So we can go from there and see how it works out. But I definitely don't think it'll be limited to double tank.
All right, that's awesome to hear. Thank you.
Yeah, it's really good to know. Thank you for your insight on that. And moving forward, good luck with the swap. Final question, you're going to be up against Gale Force Esports next week. How are you guys feeling about that particular matchup?
I think it's pretty hype. Gale Force is a good team, but they've made changes. I think all the teams are up for grabs for their spots. I don't think there's a clear winner for top team. Obviously, some teams look stronger than others. So I think it's a really exciting time for HOTS, and there's lots of jokes about it, but I think it's exciting not knowing who's on top, and any team can win against any team. So against Gale Force, we're excited, and they're a great team, just like all the other teams that are fantastic. We have good friends in them, so I'm sure it'll be really hype.
Yeah, the matches have been so exciting. I love that next week's matches are so important when we look at the Western Clash and beyond. So congratulations again on your victory, and we'll let you give shout-outs before you go.
Thanks so much. Just shout out to my team, and you can follow me on Twitter at StrayHots. And I think everyone played great today, so big shout-outs.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Superstars get a very much needed victory.
I mean, yeah, it's weird because I feel like for a lot of fans at home, they're like, okay, congratulations, Superstars. You just managed to put yourself above even in death. And, you know, there's still a huge gap between the 5-3 split we have. But again, looking to the future,
yes,
it means so much. Like, anti-Crucible status is increased drastically for every game they can manage to steal in part number 1. And again, even though Naventic is still showing signs of growth, I mean, it's pretty apparent that they are carrying over what they got from last week. Just wasn't enough to deal with it, especially with Superstars resorting back to what they knew. You know, Naventic is continuing to try and find that growth with Tomster.
And they may be able, they still have time to get their first victory of HGC, as they'll be going up against Even in Death next week. Speaking of next week, let's look at the schedule for Friday and what you can expect in both HGC